I'm hitting hoodies in a hoodie. Peace to Joseph, Joe, Ben, Jojo, Janae, and every hood G. That's right, my fight is ill. Peace to L and S and Quest, nice and super cypher still. I live and die for hip hop. This is the time of the day. I give props to hip hop, to hip hop parade. Ho, hey, ho, hey, ho, hey, ho, hip hop parade. Ho, hey, ho, hey. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Portia. Happy Monday.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
Well, I can't complain because who would listen?
Exactly.
Complaining
Exactly.
does nothing for us. I'm
Nothing.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm amazing. I had a good weekend and um I'm a little tired though. I have to admit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
stayed up late. I went over to a friend's house and watched the game. And so I stayed up a little late. I came
Mm-hmm.
home and talked on the phone like a teenager till 2 o'clock in the morning, child. So I'm
Yes.
tired. I'm tired.
It be like that. It's okay.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Let's see, who do we have in here with us that we can shout out? Good morning, Robert and Chase. Good morning, Danny. Hey, Juma. Drizzy, Juan, Edwin. Is it Kenya or Kanaya? I'm not sure. Morgan, Big Teddy. Good morning to everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I hope you all had great weekends. And if you didn't have a great weekend, you get today to start all over.
Yes. Thank God for that.
Good morning, Big Rooster. Thank you for the roses. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Give me those roses. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna wake up. Okay. I even put on some hip hop.
I
Yeah.
hear. I'm like, we
I
turning.
was like, I need this boost of energy. Y'all want to talk about energy this week.
Okay, let's go.
Let's talk about energy this week. So, the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because I don't know if people, really know how their energy affects others and
Yes.
how it affects you. You
Mm-hmm.
walking around with a stank attitude. Top of the morning to you, Big Rooster. You walking around with a stank attitude and then think that everything is supposed to come up smelling like roses for you.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not going to happen.
Right.
Um, so I just want to talk about that. But so my affirmation is that my energy radiates positivity.
Yes.
Um, I told y'all before, like even if I'm not in a good mood, I walk around like I am until I feel better.
Yes.
Um, I don't like to stay stuck in any negative spaces for for a long time. Sometimes you might want to curl up and sulk a little bit, but I mean, life is still life, and you somewhere crying and everybody else moving on with life. So there's that. Um,
Yeah.
but I saw this little picture behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And just talking about like if you're on an upward spiral in your energy or you're on a downward spiral in your energy. And I was just looking at some of those words and how like the opposite of those words can change the trajectory of your energy like
Yeah.
just that quickly.
Mhm.
Um so it's like if you have joy, if you walking around in joy, you walking around in love and passion, like all of these things are
Mhm.
more positive than walking around in hate and
Yes.
anger,
Yes.
doubt,
Yes.
frustration, like
Mhm.
um all of those things like start off that energy force field, if you will,
Mhm.
right? So you can choose to be on the upward spiral of those things. You can choose love. You can choose to be eager. You can choose to be happy and hopeful
Mhm. Mhm.
instead of hopeless. Like,
That part.
so
It's all a choice.
it's a choice, right? And so if you're not choosing to be in a positive space,
Mhm.
and then you bringing down the room and everybody around you, boo,
Right.
boo to you,
That
you
part.
know, come on. It doesn't take that much
It don't.
to push yourself into a more positive light
Mhm.
instead of sulking and sitting around woe is me type of situation, because that's
Mhm.
just where you're going to always be if you choose
Yep.
to be there, right?
Yep.
It's so everything at the end of the day, like I keep saying, it all starts with you, how you moving, you
Mhm.
know how you want to feel.
It's up to you.
It's up to you. You got to start somewhere. So,
Yeah.
okay, so what? You had a bad day, your boss. Um, hey, XO, I hope you're feeling better today. I hope you're having a awesome Monday so far. Yeah, but everything starts with you and how you want to feel.
Mhm.
We can't be depending on others for our happiness.
At all.
Sometimes those very people you depending on for your happiness is depending on you for theirs.
That part. And it ain't right either way.
It ain't right either way. So now y'all both sitting around looking dumb.
Yep. Yep. It's nobody else's responsibility to create your happiness. That's literally, I looked up the definition of self love this weekend for my podcast. And that's literally a part of the definition of self love. It's having a regard for oneself and your happiness. It's
Mhm.
your happiness that you're in control of. Nobody else is going to create your happiness for you. That's self-love. That's you loving yourself enough to care about your happiness enough to produce it. Now other people should add to your happiness. Yes, they should be a bonus, but you should have already been filled up in your cup your own happiness. It's nobody else's
Exactly.
job. So
It's got to start with you,
yep.
and it needs to radiate from you. People need to be able. That's why it's called energy. People should feel
Yes.
it when you walk in the room.
Yes.
And they do feel it when you
Yeah,
walk
they do.
in the room.
They
If
do.
you are in a negative space,
Mm-hmm.
immediately when you walk in the room, you bring the room down.
Uh-huh.
Everybody knows it. Everybody can feel that. Why do you think people see you when you walk in a room and be like, "What's wrong?" Because you
Yes.
wearing it like
Yes.
clothing.
Yep. Yep. It's an exchange. We're spiritual beings in these human vessels. So it's an exchange of energy when you come into the presence of somebody. And if they have negative energy, you're gonna feel it, you're gonna see it, you're gonna all the things, and you be like, no, I don't want to deal with that. Or you indulge in it, and that's a whole nother thing. But I choose not to indulge in it. I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's funny. I was telling my mom, we have this cousin that's been in church all her life and still like she's in her 60s and still be walking around talking about I'll scratch somebody's eyeballs out and I'll do this and I just evil. Like how you get like why are you walking around with that energy all the time?
Girl, them church people be the worst people sometimes.
Girl.
Jesus.
It's like, and that type of energy is so exhausting. It
Hmm.
takes so much out of you to be negative. If you just turned that around and went upward up the spiral, you will feel so much lighter. You will feel better. It would just be different. But when you dragging around that negative energy, child, please,
I'm gonna scratch somebody's eyeballs out.
girl,
Girl, them people that be barking the loudest be the ones getting their eyebrows scratched out. So
that part too. That part too, because they think they scaring somebody. Girl,
it just really, really sucks to be like that all the time. And
all the
and you know,
time.
and I have to admit, so I was having a conversation with a friend, and someone from high school tagged me in a post. It
Mhm.
was like one of those posts like um their other friends um are certain like words or whatever. Who was a troublemaker? Who was the this? Who was the that? Right?
Mhm.
And I got this is somebody I don't even interact with often, and
Mhm.
maybe have seen a handful of times since high school, right?
Okay.
And we all know how long ago that was.
Right.
But anyway, she tagged me in it, and I was tagged as a troublemaker.
Oh.
Yeah, and um, my friend was asking me, "Well, is is that really how people see you?" And I was like, "I don't think people see me like that." And then I started thinking about it because when I responded to this post, I was like, "Oh my god, oh no, like that is so wrong. That ain't me." Whatever I said, and other people was like co-signing that, yeah, that's you, sis. So I was like, oh my god. So anyway, so I started thinking about it. I was like, I think I probably was, past tense, a troublemaker, or could definitely be viewed that way because I was feisty, and
Mhm.
I'm all in your face with it. I'm super opinionated. No, let
Mhm.
me take that back. I used to be super opinionated because
Mhm.
I'm not she anymore.
Okay.
Good morning, Ronald. So yeah, I was like, dang, maybe that is true that
Mhm.
people used to view me in that light as a troublemaker. And that actually kind of sucks when I think about it,
Yeah.
because that will keep you out of the room. That will keep people from wanting to be around you. You know, things that were funny, maybe back in the day, keep people could get a good kiki off of your bad behavior.
Yeah.
Um, but in your adult life, who wants that?
That
And
part.
so I know that I'm not that way anymore. But when I really sat back and thought about it and thought, like, dang, did people really see me that way?
Uh-huh.
That sucks, really.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that people thought I was a troublemaker. And I don't know if everyone thought that, or if it really was a joke. But the
Right.
fact that other people was like saying, yeah, girl, that is you. I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, and I had forgot all about that post.
Mhm.
Actually, it was like weeks ago, but when I thought about it, I was like, well, maybe that is how people used to see me,
Yeah.
and I would hope that at this age that I am today, that
Uh-huh.
no one would still view me in that light
Right.
and let me So, Juma, you never saw me as a troublemaker. God bless it. Okay, well then that means that they were wrong about me. Okay. Um. So good, Juma. But everybody was saying, yeah, they thought, I don't know, but you know what? this same friend also said that women business is petty business, and sometimes uh we women just be petty for the sake of being petty.
Uh-huh.
And so it was a bunch of women saying it. So maybe I was a troublemaker in that arena
Uh-huh.
among other women, you know.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I was petty Betty back then and all of those things. So maybe. And with Juma, I wasn't like that because uh he was my male friend, and you
Yeah.
know he ain't a woman in that petty business. So
Yeah.
uh so maybe he was able to have a different experience of me.
Yeah.
And I think that's true too, that different people have different experiences of you.
Absolutely.
You you share different parts of yourself with different people.
Absolutely. And different people bring out different things in
Maybe
you too.
that's what it
You said what? Oh,
is, which all goes back to that energy piece,
yes.
because those with good energy, they are putting out that good energy and receiving it back, and those with negative energy is putting out negative energy and getting that back. So you
Right.
have to be careful about how you're moving, because you know people always be talking about, you know, you got to be careful about who you invite into your life, into your space, but you also need to be careful about what you're putting out in the world.
Absolutely.
uh
Because you
Good
definitely can
morning,
be the problem.
Angel. You have to be careful about what you're exuding,
Hey,
because that is
Angel.
what you're going to have returned to you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Definitely. We attract, it's the law of attraction. You attract what you put out. Period.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely, which is why it's so important to check that energy. I you know, I remember Mama used to always say, check that attitude at the door.
mm-hmm.
That's about your energy, you know.
Yep. Yep.
How are you, how are you moving,
Mm-hmm.
how are you presenting yourself? You walking in there with your face tight, or you walking
Mm-hmm.
in there smiling and sunshine, you know?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
are you presenting yourself?
Yes. 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 It's all about
You
you.
It's all about you, you know? If you want better, you got to do better. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can't
Absolutely.
just be expecting everybody else to be great and amazing and to pour into you, and all you doing is being negative and dragging down the room and making everybody feel bad.
That part.
You gonna
That
stop being invited to the room
that part. It's only so long people gonna tolerate that foolishness.
when you stop getting those invitations.
Mm-hmm.
You better look at you.
Yep. Yep.
What you done did? What you said?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's so true. That's so true. We got to be better about how we represent ourselves. We are our own representatives. So if you go out here representing negative, that's what you're gonna get, or that's how people gonna label you, or whatever. But also, whatever company you keep in, like you said, you give different energies to different people. Whatever they giving you, you give them sometimes. So that's just like, yeah, you got to know what to surround yourself with and what you're not going to tolerate. And I think that comes with time and discernment and us learning ourselves. And like, I don't really like being around petty, negative stuff. So I'm not going to no longer surround myself with those type of people. Uh,
Exactly. And
but
you get to choose. You
yeah.
know, yes, Angel, first impressions. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you get to choose who you allow in your space. And
Yep.
you get to decide when certain situations no longer serve you.
That part.
if
That
if
part.
you know that every single time you hang with this particular chick,
Mm-hmm.
something jump off, it's a
Mm-hmm.
pop off, y'all go to Subway to get a sandwich, she done cussed out the sandwich maker,
Yep.
now you ain't sure if you can even eat your sandwich.
Yep. Yep.
Stop going to Subway with her then.
Yep. Just that simple. Like, you know what? I ain't gonna be able. But also, you know what? The thing about that is it's hard for us to let go of relationships sometimes, especially when you've invested time and years and energy. Like you feel like, oh, they're gonna think I've changed. Oh, but you have changed. It's nothing wrong with changing and evolving. There's nothing wrong with that. But
Change is wonderful.
right, but people they make it seem like it's such a bad thing because it's like, oh, you think you better than. No, I don't think I'm better than, but I know I'm not at that place any longer. I don't want to be there any longer, and I'm trying to get you to come up here with me too. But if you don't want to, that's your choice. But it's also
E-
my choice to keep it moving.
Exactly. Yes, Juma. Legacy relationships and Angel said relationships are like habits. They are, and old
Yes,
habits are hard to break.
hard.
You like you said, Portia. You feel like you've invested so
Mhm.
much into this relationship, and I know, and especially in, but not exclusively, especially in romantic relationships, you be
Mhm.
like, I didn't poured all of this into this man. I
Ooh.
didn't worked on him and got him
Listen.
just where I want him to be, and now I'm gonna let somebody else have him. Yes,
Yep.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Let somebody else have him
Yep. Get
if
somebody
it
else to
no
do
longer
it.
serves you.
Yep. Yep. And that's
And it is
it's
hard.
true.
I mean,
It's true in romantic and friendships.
yes,
It's been worse in my friendships. I mean, it has been like that in romantic relationships as well, but oh, them friendships, child, it tore me up. I had to let go of my friend that I had since kindergarten. That was a 30-year relationship. 30 years. Like, and to let that go, it hurt me so much, but it was no longer serving me. And when I look back over the relationship, it really was never the true friendship I thought it was.
yes. And that is probably what hurt more.
Yeah.
The realization that it wasn't what you romanticized in your mind
Yep.
anyway.
Yep.
You were thinking, this my ace. We've been
Yep.
riding since kindergarten. I
Yep.
think it's something to be said for the fact that you want to just put this timeline on how long you've been friends when really
Mm-hmm.
it is not
Mm-hmm.
the length of time but the quality of the
That
relationship
part.
that should be
It's the
counted.
quality, not the quantity. Period.
So yes, the
Period.
scales are
Come
unbalanced.
on.
You're absolutely right. And the thing
Yes.
is that you really, really have to start evaluating those
No pants.
friendships and relationships. You you
Mm-hmm.
you know how we get evaluated every year on our job?
Uh-huh.
We should
Uh-huh.
be evaluating those friendships and love relationships the same. I've
Absolutely.
always
Absolutely.
said, now this was always a joke, but I did always used to say, I do not understand why marriage licenses do not have to be renewed. Every other license you get in your life have to be renewed. That's
Yes.
because things change, right? So
Yes.
you got your driver's license when you was 18 and they never gonna make sure you still know what the hell you doing.
Yes, they do.
So, you know,
Yes, that's good. That's good. It should be that way. But they
you should
don't.
have to renew your marriage license every 5 years. Y'all should have to
Yep.
come to the table and say, are we still doing this?
Yep.
We're gonna sign
Yep.
up for another 5 years.
Yep.
I think it would be less divorces.
Yeah. Get some training, get some counseling, get some therapy, whatever is required to check in.
Mandatory
Do a
mandatory classes that you have to
yeah.
take to renew that license.
Yeah. Yes. That's what it should be. Because
We
that's
got to
the
sit
biggest
down and talk
concern.
about this. What's been good? What's been bad? How can we improve? How can we move this thing forward? What's our next goals for the next 5 years?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are we still on the same page? Are we still in alignment? Okay.
Are we still and do we still want the same things, or have
Yeah,
we grown apart? Because honestly, in relationships, you can grow apart.
you can.
You can, but when you love someone, you should be working on that all the time. You should be checking in
Yeah.
and making sure that we are on the same page and we are aligned. And if we're not, how can we get back there? You know, those the best
Yeah.
relationships is not because they were always happy and in a great space. It's because they're constantly learning and growing and pushing forward.
They've had hard times and they um resolve them or work through them together. That's a real relationship. That's It's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time. That's not realistic. We have to endure.
Juma,
We have
yes. That song, is it still good to you?
that
Listen,
part.
the
Go get
music
your
we
hat.
grew up on, they was spitting facts back then. I don't know what they be spitting nowadays. They just be spitting.
They just be spit.
They just be spitting. Walt Disney love. What do you mean? What do you mean about Walt Disney love? Is that like a fairy tale love? That Minnie and Mickey kind of love? That's what you're telling me?
Come on, baby. Mm.
Ashford and Simpson wrote some of the most iconic classics of our day. So yeah, uh, solid as a rock. You know, they said they build it up and build it up, and now we solid. Like it wasn't like this in the beginning. We had to work on this thing.
Yes. It's a constant work, okay?
It's a constant work. You
It
know,
ain't no
that's why
it
you should
worked
be
in the
constantly
beginning.
working on you
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and making sure that how you're moving
Mm-hmm.
is right.
And what may have served you in the beginning may not be serving you year two, or may not be serving you year five. And that's okay. Things change. But you have to reevaluate. You have to
But if it's
reassess.
not, why is it not?
Right.
Because we're always quick to blame someone
Oh
else.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's because that's the easy route to be like, oh, this must be because of you, or you're causing this. Again, you are responsible for your own happiness. So you need to do self check-ins with yourself, like, hey, why I'm tripping? What's going on with me? Let's get to the root of this within myself. Then if you recognize, okay, I have played this role, I have done this part in it, but also this person also when they do this and that causes me to feel this and that. Then you can bring it to your partner or whatever. But you got to check it within yourself first. Don't just go pointing fingers and acting like you perfect and you've done all the things right, because you haven't. Nobody is.
And Juma just posted another song till we get it right.
That
Yeah,
part.
because because it is always so the other thing is that men and women we don't think alike.
That part.
We don't think alike. That doesn't mean that we can't come to an understanding,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't think alike. We don't move with the same.
We're wired differently, for sure.
So we know, and if you don't know, you should know that we are emotional creatures,
Mm-hmm.
and they are way more fact based. They like, these are the facts. This is what's going on, and we like, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not how I feel. And they like it ain't about how you feel. This is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why sometimes you guys bump heads. But if you're
Look
willing
up
to
there.
be open to somebody else's way of seeing life and doing life,
Mm-hmm.
then you can still align. Okay,
Yes.
he's right.
Oh, it's down
This,
here, boo.
if your feelings are still valid, it doesn't invalidate how you feel. But facts are facts. Feelings are feelings. They can understand your feelings, and you can understand the facts. It doesn't mean you're not in
Mm-hmm.
alignment. It just means
Right.
that you think about the situation differently. You can
Yeah.
still come you can still come to the same conclusion, but you just have different avenues of getting there.
That part. Yeah. And God did that purposely. It wasn't meant for us to think the same way, because then we wouldn't be able to effectively problem solve correctly.
Exactly, because then you end up just having a teammate, somebody that's just going to cheer you on regardless. You could be wrong as two left shoes. Nobody's ever going to be like, oh, no, no, no. That
Yeah.
ain't right, shawty. We ain't moving like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't ever be checked. You can't ever be pulled up, So
Mm-hmm.
you
It's no,
it's
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 no.
meant for us to have different roles, and we talked about that last week too. Everybody in
Mm-hmm.
a relationship, whether romantic or friendship,
Go, babe. I'll bring it back.
co-workers, whatever, everybody has their role.
Yes.
Know your role. Know your position.
That's in the Bible about the body parts or whatever. We all are play our different roles as far as part of the body of Christ. Like, everybody that can't do everything or whatever. But I like to say within marriage that yes, the man is the head, but the woman is the neck. And without the neck, the
Absolutely.
head would not be effective. Would
Which
not be
is
able to
again,
move.
I said, you, even though he is the head of the household, you influence you still have an influence over the decisions that's going to be made. You still have an influence because that head don't move without the neck.
At
So a
all.
good leader is always going to check in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're not
Mm-hmm.
going to just make arbitrary decisions and everybody just have to live with them.
Right. Right. Not a good leader.
But you also need to make sure, as the woman, you need to be making sure that you're really supporting his vision.
That part. Yeah.
You have to go all in. And if the vision don't work out the way he had intended,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot beat that man up because he already feel bad enough. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't keep reminding him that he the reason why we lost $10,000 because you made a bad
Yeah.
investment, and that you either you with him or you're not. We
Agreed.
built we
Totally
we
agreed.
built up that account. We can build it back up, baby.
Yeah.
I know this didn't work out,
We
and
took the
hopefully
risk together.
and hopefully you've chosen wisely your spiritual mate. You've chosen wisely, and then he won't make that same mistake again. He's not going to just keep making the same mistakes and dragging you down a dark path, because then if that's the case, then you need to check you too, and you might need to let go of that relationship. Maybe it no longer serves you.
Again, that goes back to the alignment of it all. Are you truly still in alignment? Are y'all still on the same path? Do y'all still have the same goals? Because if they keep trying to take you down this path of just risking it all, risking it all, risking it all, and y'all never getting anywhere, then it's like, okay, I need to reassess if this is really who I need to be with, because I'm not willing to keep doing this.
Hmm.
So,
But you see this word down here on the downward spiral, impatient. We need to make sure we're
mhm.
not being impatient either, because as humans we want things in our time, and that's not always God's timing. And I say that these kids these days, the microwave generation, they want everything right now because they have been shown things come instantly. That's why they don't want to go to college anymore. Why I need to go to college? I could just be a YouTuber and make, and they can, they can. It's true. They can just invest a few dollars in something and it could blow up just like that. It is true. But is that really the life you want, that you have nothing to fall back on if that doesn't work out? It's just be just that much harder in life if you have no skill set, you never held a job. You have to have had a job before to get a job.
That part.
That is like the hardest thing. And I don't even think people ever really think about that because they are looking at your experience and you don't have no experience.
Mhm.
Most people, most of the time, your first job you got because of someone else.
Mhm. Yeah.
Think if you think back about your first job, because my first job was at McDonald's
Mhm.
and I was underage,
Come.
and my really good schoolmate was a year older than me and she already worked there, and they were looking for employees, and she got a bunch of us a job there, but I got that job off of the strength of her.
Yeah.
Burger King was mad love. Burger King was your first job. And who told you about the Burger King job? You went there with other friends or something like that? Or you just walked in the door and got that job? Or did you know somebody? Because I and then after I left McDonald's, my next job I worked at see, the next job I worked at was JC Penney. And I got that job because my aunt worked the jewelry counter there for, she retired from there. She worked there for years. And so I'm just saying that do not be impatient. Check your own energy. Make sure that what you're putting out is what you want to receive. Because
Absolutely.
if you're sitting back and being a nasty tyrant and expecting people to give you love, unconditional love, um, also somebody just told me that love is never unconditional.
Mhm.
We like to say that, we throw that around a lot. But if you really do think about it,
Mhm.
it's really not. The only love that's unconditional probably is the love for your children.
Mm.
When
Yeah.
you
For some people.
when you
For some people.
well listen, because let's okay, well let's just put it out there. You with a man, you've been with him since y'all was kids,
Mhm.
but he a bum and he just won't work, won't keep a job.
Mhm.
Now y'all done had kids and um supposed to be building a life together. And you can't feed them babies because he's just sitting there being a bum.
Mhm.
But you love him. You gonna stay
Mm.
or you leave. That love is conditional.
It's
It
definitely
is
conditional.
conditional.
Yeah.
If you love someone, you love them. You've been
It
pouring
does not
into them,
matter.
and they're not loving you back. They cheating, they whatever. You staying
Mhm.
or you walking away
No.
because you need to first love yourself. Love is
Yeah.
conditional. It's
Yeah.
conditional.
Love is. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is.
You know,
It's
you and maybe it's not that the love itself is conditional, but you giving the love is conditional because maybe you'll still love them from afar,
Mhm.
but no longer want them in your life, affecting your
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
But whether or not we stay in relation with people, and I'm not talking about just romantic relationships, those things are conditional. You know, what does it do
Yeah.
for me? How does it serve me? Does it not serve me? Does this
Mhm.
person bring me down all the time?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
left a
yeah, that's
relationship. I left a relationship because we didn't I started realizing we did not make each other better.
mm,
And it wasn't anything he did to me. He was good to me. He respected me. But we were worse together than apart.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
When we had separated, one time, previously in the marriage, and when we were both separate, we were thriving and doing well. We got back together and all of that tanked.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be making the person that you're in relation with better. You should be adding to their life and not taking away from their life. So even in friendships,
Yeah.
what does this friendship do for me? How does this friendship make me better?
Yeah.
How am I showing up in this friendship?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if there's no positivity and you're not feeling joy and passion, enthusiasm, hopefulness, happiness, optimism in your relationships, then you
Mm-hmm.
need
Mm-hmm.
to reevaluate,
Mm-hmm.
reassess, and decide whether they need the license renewed or not.
That part. That part.
So check
But
your
you
energy.
yes, check the energy for sure. For sure. And you have to know people too to know whether, okay, I can't take this personally. They may be having a moment, because everybody is not going to be able to give you all the goodness at all times. But
Hmm.
you should know them enough to know, like, they're off today, they having a moment. Let me give them some time. That's where that patience comes in at. That's where that
Hmm.
kindness comes in at. Being compassionate, empathetic towards another person. Like, okay, I know, like, I have moments too when I'm not feeling my best, but I'm gonna stick beside you. Don't look at that. If it's a constant thing, that's one thing. But if it's like, okay, something's off, don't be like, oh, I'm gonna let this go, or I'm gonna, because people are quick, again, impatient. They'll just throw something away because they didn't like a moment. You can't base
Hmm.
everything off of a moment, and nobody's perfect, so we're gonna have
Nobody's perfect.
moments, and it may not have
Absolutely.
nothing to do with you. So stop taking everything so personal.
Ooh, we say that again.
Listen.
Everything is not personal, and I have to admit, I used to be one that took everything personally.
Mm-hmm.
Everything meant something. Was they talking about me? They don't like me. I
Mm-hmm.
always was thinking that way. So actually, I was bringing that into my space.
Mm.
I was opening up my world for negativity because I was
Yeah.
always thinking something's gonna go wrong, something's gonna be bad, this is not gonna work
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
That's why people started saying this "speak it into existence" line, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because because you- it because if everything starts with you, you got to watch that mouth, you got to watch that tongue, you got
Yep.
to watch what you're saying to people, about
Yes.
people, and what
Yes.
you're thinking people are going to do. If you're thinking that everything is going to happen for your good, then you would not be able to constantly be saying negative.
No. No. There
You
will be
have to
no
believe
space
it.
for it. Yeah. There will be no space for it. Who said that? Oh, this girl, this girl, this woman got on my live last week and said manifestation is only you already seeing yourself in the finish zone.
Mm,
That's all it is. So if you manifest, if you speaking in the way of seeing yourself already in the finish zone, that's like, oh yeah, I already got that 6 bedroom house that I want. Yeah, did you see my house, girl? Yeah, God bless me with that. Like, I'm already speaking like it's happening, even if that's not my current, even if my credit ain't good enough for me to even get that home loan in this moment. I'm already speaking it like it's going to be, and I'm gonna be able to get there because I believe that in my heart that it is. But if I sit there and think, man, my credit ain't nothing, and you constantly speaking that negative, you're going to stay right there. You're dwelling in that space. And you know what you're doing? Giving the devil the ammunition to keep you right there. Oh, okay, yeah, good. Keep on talking that good talk. Because that's what I want to hear as a believer, for sure.
right.
Like,
I'm
no.
just, it's so important that you are checking in with you.
Yes.
Making sure that you are being the energy that you want to receive.
Yes. 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 For
It
sure.
starts with you guys. I mean, I'm and trust me, this is for me as much as it's for us.
Listen.
I'm constantly trying to be better, better today than I
Mhm.
was yesterday. Yes, yes, Juma. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they will
Yes.
not it shall eat the fruit thereof.
Yes. 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 For sure.
Listen, we have all been taught these lessons our entire lives.
Mhm.
They've been dropping nuggets and gems in our lives forever.
Mhm.
We didn't always know what they meant or
Mhm.
how we can apply them to our lives.
Mhm. Mhm.
But again, when you know better, you do
Do
better.
better.
At
Period.
least you should. And if you're not living that way, do better.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta start. You have to start. You have to stop dwelling in the negative. Dwell in the positive. It will change your whole world, literally.
And maybe you might need to walk away from some of those relationships that are still keeping you stuck
Mhm.
in the negative space.
Yeah. It may be hard. It's not an easy thing. Let's be clear. It's not easy.
It's
Even if
not easy.
it's
You
somebody
might
that's really close to you or a family member, it still applies.
listen. People be tied to them blood ties, and
Yes.
some of those people are the worst for you too.
Yes, they are.
I I I really think that anybody that you can't talk to,
Mhm.
um, express yourself with,
Mhm.
those are people you really don't need around you. If I
At
can't
all.
tell you this is what I think or how I'm feeling or what I see,
Mhm.
that doesn't make me right. That's just my
Mhm.
experience, right? But if I
Yep.
can't do that and you can't do that with me, then maybe we don't need to be in each other's space. And I have to
Right.
say again and admit,
Mhm.
oh, that's good, Juma. He says that that's why he makes a distinction between family and relatives.
Woo.
You're related
That's
to me.
real.
You might be related to me, but you ain't my
Mhm.
family.
That part.
My
That part.
sister, my sister told me. I, so okay, full transparency. Me and my sisters didn't always have a very
Thank you for the
great
gifts. Sorry.
relationship. Yes,
Mhm.
thank you. We didn't
Mhm.
we didn't always have great
I got you.
relationships. Um, and it's three of us. I'm the oldest. And I didn't always understand why. And to me, I just kind of always thought like, I'm the oldest and they, were closer to each other because they were the two youngest and whatever, right? And I still think that a lot of it had to do with that. But anyway, we were having a conversation and she said, you kind of made your friends your family. And I was like, they are my family because some of them have cheered for me and rooted for me and talked to me and poured into me, checked me when I was wrong more so than my family. They are my family. And it's nothing wrong with that. It shouldn't discount your position in my life, but you need to show up the way you want me to show up. I thought I was a great big sister and they didn't have that same experience of me. But as I told them, y'all wanted me to be playing Barbies and jump rope with y'all when my mama was a single mama working all the time and I was responsible for helping to raise y'all. I was responsible for the house, making sure the house was clean, dinner was on the stove. Like, I was responsible for that at a very young age. And so you wasn't expecting mama to play Barbies with you. I was taking care of y'all, and y'all wanted me to be jumping rope. I didn't have time. So I didn't have the full benefit of the childhood that y'all had because I was the oldest. So my responsibilities were greater. Hey, from Chicago. Um, it's nothing wrong with having friends as family, or anybody who loves you and brings you the same energy that you give them, considering them your family.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with
Nothing
that.
wrong with that.
Blood is not the only thing that can make you family. And blood don't always make you family, as Juma just dropped that little nugget with us, right?
Yep. Yep. It does not. It does not. But they try to make you feel bad, even when it's your parents that are inducing trauma and all that type of stuff. They try to make you feel bad for wanting to not be in relationship with them, and that's not right. Because if they're not serving you, it is what it is.
Listen, I recently had a conversation with my mother, and I know she didn't like it. It didn't feel good. And I'm not blaming her for anything, because what I have learned as a parent myself, what I have learned is that you're learning every day. There is no right or wrong way to parent, and hopefully you're growing every day. That whatever, like when I heard my first child, I didn't know what I was doing. Knowing how to change a diaper and feed someone is not parenting. You you learn how to parent along the way. And you also
Absolutely.
learn that each child needs something different from you. Just
Yeah.
like each relationship that you have. Well, wow, that is just, you want to, how old were you? How old was I? Oh, how old was I when I had my first child? I was 16. I was 16. But if I was 36, I still wouldn't have known what I was doing. I
Exactly.
would not have had any idea. But if you haven't done it before, anything you've never done before, you have to learn how to do. And so
Absolutely.
I once I got that message, I was able to release my mother for everything I was holding her hostage over.
Mhm. Mhm.
Every unhappiness that I experienced in my childhood, I was holding it all over my mother's head. She was doing the very best she knew how to do
Yep.
with the information that she had at the time.
That part. That part.
And what
It's
I
all.
do know is that she loved us. So she was doing the very best she knew how to do. So why am I still beating her up for any mistakes she made? Like, my
Yeah.
God, let that lady live. And
Let her
so
live. Give grace. Okay.
I told her, I was like, when we were growing up, you did X and so, and you know, because basically she was giving me some advice about what I should be doing with my now 19-year-old. And I
Mhm.
was saying I don't do things that way anymore because
Mhm.
of whatever reasons. And she immediately got on the defensive and felt like it was an attack. And I was trying to explain to her, I'm not attacking you. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that life lessons, you
Mhm.
learn from past mistakes, past trauma, whatever the case may be. You should be learning from those things.
Yeah.
um I'm not the same mom to my 19-year-old that I was to my 32-year-old.
That part.
They'll
Yeah.
tell you that them older two, child, God bless them.
Yeah.
didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Sorry. I've apologized. I'll probably forever be apologizing. I hope that one day, if they haven't already let it go,
Yep.
I hope that one day they will.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I
But
didn't
see, that's
ruin
the
you so much
difference,
that you
Tam.
can't be great.
Right. But that's the difference, Tam. What you just said, you apologized and you took accountability for your actions at that time in your life. Like, again, you didn't know what you were doing. And I think as kids, we tend to look at our parents like they know all because they have that authority over us. But when we
Hmm.
get older and when we start having children ourselves, we quickly realize, like, oh, just like I'm 20 something or 30 something or whatever age, and I didn't know who I was completely. I don't know what I'm doing completely. My parents didn't know it either at that age when they had me. So we have to extend that grace, but also the parents now that we can have these conversations that we're older should also take accountability for the things that they may have inflicted on their children. It's okay to say, yeah, I may have made a wrong decision or I may not have done everything right. But
Hmm.
I tried my best. But a lot of parents don't want to do that because they be like, well, you should just be glad that I I took care of you. I could have gave you up. But like all that defensive negativeness instead of
Hmm.
just saying, yeah, I messed up. I wasn't perfect. I didn't know. And that's
Hmm.
okay. Just take
Yeah,
accountability for
I
your
remember my
stuff.
mom told me when I was young, you know, much younger, maybe 14 or 15 or something, before I had my first child. She was
Hmm.
like, "You'll understand when you have kids of your own."
Yeah.
I think a lot of parents say that. Um, for one thing, they put in a little curse on us so that we can experience some of the same things that we did to them, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that thing be coming back full
Yeah, it
circle. It
do.
do, it really do.
It do.
Um, but it's no truer statement.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know
Until
until
you
you know
know
it.
it. That's right.
So, release whatever that is. And also, if you holding on to all negativity from the past, now how are you able to have positive energy? You
You
sitting
can.
back mad, angry, pissed about things that happened 25 years ago,
I feel like you have to
45.
deal with it. You have to deal with it in order to move forward. And whichever
Mm-hmm.
way that is for you to deal with it, but you cannot just, I don't believe in just sweeping it under the rug and acting like it didn't happen because it's undealt with feelings. And at some point in your life, you're going to be triggered or something's going to happen and all that stuff is going to resurface. So you have to deal with it, but you shouldn't dwell there. Like don't waste so much time of your life focusing on all that negative stuff. You just deal with it and move forward.
Yeah.
That's all you do.
And we need to be making sure that if we're dealing with things, if we're addressing issues, that we're
Hmm.
doing those things in love.
That
And
part.
I remember again that I used to be so opinionated and felt like, everybody needed to hear my opinion on things,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
I realize now that they really don't.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But I used to use as an excuse for my bad behavior. Well, they know me and they know I love them. And
Hmm.
that's not good enough. You
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
be moving in love. You should be, if you have to have a hard conversation with someone, you should be gentle in your delivery
Yeah.
because they can't receive it when it's nasty and negative anyway. So again,
No.
this goes
No.
back to our energy. What are you putting
Energy.
out?
Yep.
If
Yep.
you want someone to receive your message, what are you putting out there?
Yeah. You have
Uh,
to do it with the energy that you want. If all you ever desired was love and passion and enthusiasm and you didn't get those things in the past or whatever, when you come to addressing people, you have to do it in love and compassion and all those things. Like you have to be
you
in
have
that
to,
space.
You have to. And if you can't do it, then you might need to sit on that thing for a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta hold that and deal with your stuff.
Hi, Larry. Yes, they see your actions and will come to you for advice.
Yes.
Because, again, what are you putting out there? What are you putting out in the world?
Mhm. Mhm.
Now that I'm getting older, I often think about what will people say about me if they were doing my eulogy.
Yeah.
Is it going to be good
I
things? Is it going to be she was always a firecracker, a troublemaker? Like, that's not what I want to be remembered for.
that part.
And if
That
when you
part.
think about how people will remember you, if it's not good, fix it.
Yeah.
Fix it.
Be honest. Be honest with yourself,
Be
okay?
honest with yourself because, again, everything starts with you.
You. Period. Point blank.
So I guess this is a good place to put a pin in it.
Mhm.
But I want to talk about energy all this week. So there'll be something else
Yes.
tomorrow. But um again, I love you guys. I'm so happy that you all joined me for another coffee chat. I hope that if you were new in the building that you have followed me, that you have followed Portia Life Be Life in podcast,
Thank
and that you'll
you.
join us again tomorrow, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. So I love you guys. I want you to have an amazing day today. And remember that the world has never met another you. So go out and be great.
That part. Have
All
a
right.
great
I'll talk
day.
to you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.
Bye.